This is Geeks Represent, where we talk about representation and issues that matters to us geeks. We are
Daryl,
Joe,
Marshall,
and your host, Sean. Today, we'll be talking more about the food and cooking side of staying healthy, both physically and even culturally. So without further ado, here's Cooking with Geeks. So Geeks, why do you think cooking is an important skill to have?
Well, everyone's got to eat. And cooking is a great way to control cooking is a great way to control what's going into your body. And it's also just a lot of fun. At least as a guy who just really loves to cook.
Yeah, absolutely the same. Super fun, especially when it comes out like delicious. Like you're testing out a new recipe, and I've been cooking a lot more lately, but I'm still learning like recipes. So it's like a very big sense of pride, but when you're done and you've ended up creating like something really delicious. And as you said, like you're controlling what you're eating. So you also have like a sense of like that you're eating healthy as well. So
I like it because it creates a sense of independence. Because when we grew up, we always had like our parents cook for us, but since I turned 18 and knew how to start cooking, I was like, oh, I can fend for myself, and I love it. I love cooking. So
really, because when I turned 18, like that was when like if anything, I got way into eating like the school, like the college, like dining dollars, sort of thing,
Mm-hmm.
right?
True.
And I didn't have access to a kitchen in my freshman dorm, or there was a kitchen, but it was an all male dorm, and that shit was gross. So, I did not trust that. So yeah, it wasn't until like pretty much late. Also, here's a question: Did your parents like teach you how to cook? And this goes for you too, Sean, because I feel like anytime I was younger, asking like how to cook something, like yeah, sure, during like the holidays I could help out, like make something simple like cranberry sauce or something, right? But for the most part, if I asked like my mom, like, hey, how do you make this like pho, right? I remember like it's like, oh, that's not a man's job, right? So I wasn't really encouraged to cook as a kid. What about you all?
My dad did all the cooking for me, personally.
Okay.
Yeah. So it was a different type of thing where like everyone's like, "Oh, my mom makes the best sandwiches." Like, well, my mom taught me how to change a tire, how to change my oil, and how to cut weed whack. My dad taught me how to flambe and grill, cook.
Nice.
He was like,
All right.
"Son, I didn't marry your mother because she knew how to cook. I married her." Well, damn, Dad. He's like, I ain't lying. She knows it too.
See, I like that. I like that. They were teaching, your parents taught you to defy gender roles, basically.
Exactly. I was like, all right, bet. So I love cooking. And then when I started talking to like, in the relationship status, we're like, well, you know how to cook? Like, yeah. Like, well, I always thought, my parents told me like a woman's place is in the kitchen. Like, no, the woman's place is in the workforce making that damn money, because I'll be hella happy being the stay-at-home husband.
Me too.
Yeah.
6 days.
Oh, yeah.
It's like,
There's an anime about it now. I need to still watch it.
The Yakuza house dad. I'm like, I ain't gonna lie. Shit, I'll be right there. Like, what you make a 6 fig? Shit, what you want for dinner?
Hell yeah,
right. Bet. Let's get it.
That's what I'm waiting for. That's why I'm practicing. That's why I'm practicing to cook, so I can be a good house husband.
You better be, boy.
But yeah, well, what about you, Sean? Did you ever face that? Like, from the same like Vietnamese background?
So it's funny that you guys all say that you really love cooking. I actually don't really, because for me it was always a chore growing up. Because my mom was like, "You're 10, you can cook." Like, like I was bringing bowls around Vietnam when I was like 6, and like she would tell my siblings and I like stories like, "Yeah, man, like this 1-year-old baby, their parents died, and like she had to take care of her even littler baby by feeding her and changing her diapers." And like, what are you guys doing? So I'm like, what? Damn, I guess I gotta cook now. Shit.
Yo, you don't still believe that shit, right, man? I don't know what is up.
I don't now, but as a
Yeah.
kid, I did. I was very impressionable, man.
When you were
Well, I
5,
don't know
yeah,
where they
you
get
believed
these
anything.
stories from.
I guess that's true. But what is up with like Vietnamese parents in general just trying to teach their kids all these traumatic like stories that probably didn't happen?
There's mad traumatic stories like, oh, don't stick your hand out the window, it'll get chopped off somehow.
Right.
The physics of that doesn't make any sense. Now that I realize a lot of things.
Don't sleep with the fan on, or you're gonna like, I don't know, it's gonna fall on you or something.
Yeah.
Yo, first off, a fan while you sleep is like the best thing because like it's either gonna fall on me or I'm about to have the best sleep ever. That little
I was
word
terrified of that as a
keeps me at
kid.
peace.
Yeah, it makes no sense. And it's always
So
trying to
if it
like,
falls, I can at least dodge it.
Trout. You know what? I think I was watching like a Superman movie, and you know how like they show like how, you know, Clark Kent like in a cornfield or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, my parents used to be like, "Hey, that's how we found you."
Wow.
But
Damn, Joe,
so
you
your
found the
mom,
corn.
so your mom encouraged you to cook for all your younger siblings because you're the oldest, right?
Yeah, and that shit was annoying because there's like 6 of us as a family.
Damn, Sean, you had a fucking cafeteria. What you want? I want it. You get this. Shut
It was
up.
like
Next.
feeding an army, and I ate a lot, so I was also partially responsible for the amount of food
Wait.
we eat.
Wait, your mom told you this story?
For what? For
I thought-
like the kid?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought she was adopted by like white people.
Well, she was, but she would hear like a bunch of stories like, oh, like why can't you take care of these chores and stuff like that because
Okay.
I don't know where she hears these things. She probably heard it on the news, and then she was just like, yeah, this baby took care of its kid for like its little sibling for like 4 months after and then they found them like just chilling. I was like, what the heck? I can't let this baby beat me. This baby can barely walk. What the heck?
Oh my lord.
Yeah, I heard the same thing. Like a baby was raised by dingoes. Doesn't make it okay.
Yeah. Yeah, so I totally got suckered into that. I was like changing diapers, cooking, feeding them already at like 11. So like, yeah, I'm kind of over cooking, but I do appreciate the independence, yes, and being able to control what goes into your body. That's important.
That's fair.
Yeah, I've heard similar stories from other people that had to cook a lot when they were younger, just like complete burnt out on it after like in their adult life.
And our food takes forever, man.
It does, but maybe that's why I like it because I was the youngest. So you know, all my life, you know, everyone made food for me. So
I mean,
so now I get to do it for myself.
I mean, I was the youngest as well, but growing up, I would always like make my own lunch for school, but like dinner was taken care of, or if I had to, or I like would put something together myself. But like I think around 6th grade, my mom just like taught me how to like fry eggs and bacon, and I kind of just like went on a tear after that. Watched a lot of Rachel Ray's 30-minute meals. That was a fun summer. Didn't make many friends though, but I can make potatoes pretty well. But anyway,
Hey,
That's more important.
make good food, and friends will come.
This
Right.
is
I'm not
true.
hating people. What the fuck is this?
Like-
No, this is not a soup kitchen. No. You want friendship,
Not like that.
you get
Not
it.
like that. But I remember like there were some nights. The more fonder memories of like my college days was with my fraternity, or like with like hanging out with other like Asian orgs or like other Asian like sororities, right? Just cooking, like making like Korean barbecue at home, right? And like all partaking in that. Or I think at Murders one night we were all making like shoot, it's not jayal, it's gung, right? Spring rolls, like
It's
just
like-
making like spring rolls.
Oh, is it the spring roll, not the crepe, the rice paper one?
Not the crispy one. Summer rolls. Sorry, summer
Oh,
rolls.
summer rolls. Okay.
okay.
Yeah. Was it guy like gung, right? Something like that.
Yeah, kakung. Yeah, I
Kakung.
think so.
Yeah. So yeah, it's super easy to make. It's the kind of like you just put the wrap on your plate and then put whatever you want on it and then wrap it into like the little like summer rolls. So like I said, like you said you didn't make any like you should have just told him to come over and eat your potatoes, man. Shit.
It's a good skill, and I'm still use the stuff I learned back then, like day to day, like today. So
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I see you guys. You guys be sharing it all the time on your feed, and it's pretty legit looking. So,
I wish people would eat it. I wish people would come over and eat. That's what sucks. That's one thing amongst many other things about the pandemic. I kind of wish like we could invite people like you guys over, or just anyone to come over and like host dinner parties, right?
I'll be up there soon, Joe. Calm down.
Yeah, okay.
Like
Daryl's
you can't bake a cake for yourself without having
says
problems
you.
at the end of the
I can totally.
And I'll bake me a cake.
I'll totally bake a cake for myself.
German chocolate
Like,
all the way.
I think we made like a whole like tray of deviled eggs. I have no problem eating all of them by my damn self.
No shame. No shame.
No shame.
Oh,
No,
goodness.
none. Yeah.
But yeah, the communal aspect of food is a major thing too.
Yeah.
And being able to participate in potlucks or like throw a little dinner party is really cool to do. Really dope to pull off.
Yeah, that's definitely a good big social aspect of it for sure.
Yeah.
It's nice.
I mean, that's what it's for. That's what meals are for, to bring people together, right?
This is true.
Yeah.
No, I gotta do it over social media.
Unless you're a cannibal, but yeah, you know.
Then you really put people together in your stomach.
Joe, step out of the room. Just
You, whatever. You left that wide open.
I did leave that open.
I mean, they say if you eat pork, you know what human tastes like because it tastes very, very
what?
close.
Wait, what?
Joe's like, hold up. What was that last part?
Pork is the closest tasting meat to human.
Who the fuck
That's why
determined
I
this?
turned a little vegan.
What was his part of Hannibal Lecter's thesis in college?
Actually, it came from a Binging with Babbitts episode where he was doing something from the Hannibal show. So yeah.
Oh.
I see.
Did it go with a side of fava beans and a nice Chianti?
I think so, yeah.
They might have had a good Chablis with it too, you know.
Mm-hmm. Yo, that's because you're eating humans doesn't mean you can't keep it classy. And
Little
nutritious.
whiskey.
Fava beans are good for your fiber. You know.
Some quinoa, you know, try to stay fit.
There's our episode tagline.
What?
Just because you're eating humans, you can't keep it classy.
Yeah.
I don't think that. Let's workshop that a little bit.
We're gonna work that into a very PC tagline.
That could definitely be the preview at least.
Okay.
Oh my goodness.
You know what? Just take the audio clip. Do it. Just include that.
Oh my.
That's what we'll do. We won't record anything new. Just take that. I'll definitely draw people in. Like what? What?
Yeah. All right, guys. How would you describe your relationship with food?
Oof.
It's complicated.
That's the best way. Like a Facebook says, it's complicated.
Yeah. You know how they say,
Also,
like, you know.
Well, I love eating food, but you know, it makes me feel. I eat my feelings sometimes.
Yeah. I'm definitely a sucker for, like, you know, if I'm feeling like eating when you're bored is like one of the worst habits I think I have. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely I've struggled with eating my feelings a bit. A lot of it is just like identifying triggers of like why it happens, and trying to work against that. But yeah, that's a struggle, especially when you crave things that aren't good for you.
Oh yeah, for sure.
It's so bad. I want pizza all the time, but I can't have it.
Trying to keep things under budget, I think is a pretty good motivator for combating that. But even then, like, you know, we'll go grocery shopping. I can't resist picking up like a pack or two of like Pop-Tarts or Hot Pockets, right? So that stress eating is definitely a problem. But like Sean said, like you said, man, like it's okay to indulge in cravings every once in a while, just not a lot, right?
Yeah. Or like you can find
keep yourself
alternatives
sane.
too. Because like Marshall mentioned, like pizzas, and there's like so many pretty good healthy alternative for like a pizza that still tastes like a pizza. Like you might like cook it on like a lavash bread or like
true,
like a Greek pita, and it's like way less calories, but you still feel just as full and almost as happy. I would say like if it tastes 80% as good, but it's like quantitative, like pretty big, I feel like that's kind of worth it, you know? Like,
for sure. Same thing for things like like you said, quinoa, turkey bacon, brown rice,
Impossible
peas.
I like
Impossible meat. I have a problem just because of the sodium content. Like I know you need sodium for like the electrolytes, but I feel like Impossible meat has like way too much of it.
Impossible meat's not the best like macros either. Like you could get like a Boca burger and it's like way leaner and healthier, and it tastes good too. I don't know why Impossible burger got so good. What happened, Marshall?
a bison burger too.
Oh yeah,
bison burger with some nice garlic aioli. Yeah, that's the thing though. Like, I don't really understand the desire to try to replicate, have like meat-free alternatives to meat and try to make it taste like that meat. Because honestly, there's a lot of different vegan food that tastes good on its own without having to try to make it. Like black bean burger, for example. Black bean burger doesn't taste anything like a hamburger, but it's delicious, and I'm fine with that. You know, like I don't really see the need to try to make it like as close to bison as possible. You know?
I feel like it's Huh? Oh, I said it's. I feel like it's probably to help like people who are trying to transition and they kind of miss the taste of meat.
I guess so.
That's their main demo because they're not really targeting vegans because they already have all the other options, and they may not be craving meat. If they are, then they have that option. But
yeah, that's true.
I will say, in the same vein, it is a lot easier to get something that's still healthy, but can satisfy cravings if you make it yourself.
Oh, for sure. Just tonight, like instead of going out to like McDonald's to get chicken nuggets, man, you could check out my Instagram, Joe Dumpster.
Jody.
Yeah, plug it in.
Wait, shoot, what is it? What is my Instagram handle? Hold on.
It's not just dumpster.
Another episode preview. What is my Instagram?
Jody Tran 21. Go check it out. But just tonight, instead of going over like McDonald's or something, or even to a nicer restaurant and getting like chicken nuggets, I made them myself. You know, with no oil or butter. It was air fried with like panko breadcrumbs, and the only moisture it needed was the heavy cream that I was marinated in. So healthy alternative, right? Like then didn't have to go get super processed chicken meat that probably came out of freaking like sausage tube.
Sausage tube.
Or like a sausage grinder.
The pink slush.
Yeah, exactly. Shaped like little like feet or dinosaur like uniform nugget shapes, right?
Yeah.
Like I had the same story actually. I'm taking a break from fast food at the very least for the week because I've been feeling kind of miserable gut wise. So that might be too much information, but yeah, whatever.
No,
it's totally fair.
That's good. This is what it's about, man. Because it's also cooking for yourself. Also makes it easier to be healthy. But go on.
Yeah, but yeah, I was really craving going out to get something to eat. But I was planning on making like a quick pizza dough earlier in the week, so I picked up some vegan cheese, a new vegan cheese I saw in the store. I was going to try.
Was it good?
It tasted good. I'm not sure if it's selling with me pretty well. So, but anyway, long story short, I just instead of going out to eat, I got something that's not the best, but still not the worst. I made a grilled cheese with some naan I had in the fridge, but I used some vegan Parmesan, it was like a sun-dried tomato basil cheese, and some goat cheese because that's still good to eat, and put some arugula in it. It was a good time.
That sounds delicious. What are you talking about? That's not like the best thing. That sounds like the best thing.
Yeah,
it was tasty, but the naan had a good bit of sodium, so I went over my sodium for today. But
true, that's true. But it's still like you're still better off. Like what not only health, like nutrition wise, because who knows, at least you know what's going in it. Who the hell knows like what, like McDonald's, like if any of those numbers are like accurate, right? Like just the other, I was in line at a Popeyes, right? I did get Popeyes, and looking at the sign, it had these labels saying high sodium, high sodium, high sodium, like the little sodium warning labels. I don't know. It was in Delaware. I don't know if like it's a law there to like label the food if it's like bad for your health, but everything was labeled like high in sodium, and I was like, Jesus Christ, right? So, but yeah, so not only like nutrition wise, but also financially too, because eating out adds up.
Yeah, it does.
It really does. Ordering it adds up.
Yeah, or getting things delivered, like they always mark it up like $5-6.
Definitely, it's like 2019 is a year when I ordered a ton of food to work using Uber Eats, and looking at like my credit card purchases for like the year, I saw that Uber was like the most like listed thing for things that I bought things from. I spent like close to like 2,000 on Uber by the end of the day, by the end of the year, because
definitely adds up.
It definitely adds up.
I realized that during the pandemic, because before that we always picked up our food because we're cheap people, so we don't want to like pay like the extra delivery fee, and also most of the places we go to are close by. But because of the pandemic, that initial like year-long fear of like going outside at all, the temptation was a lot higher to or have the food come to you, and then you could be like, hey, leave it at the door, and then you could keep it in a bag and spray it in like Clorox or whatever, and microwave the food. But then like at the end of the month, you look at the bill and you're like, holy crap, why is our eating out budget, like we're over budget by like a couple $100, right?
Yeah.
So
that brings me to my next question for you guys. I guess now that we're in a pandemic, how often do you guys cook versus eating out? I assume it's probably a lot more than pre-pandemic, right? Or
yes,
if you include the delivery, would that end up as part of eating out? Would you still be considered eating out a lot?
Not after that month, for sure. Not after like figuring, realizing like how expensive it got. So now, no. We try to eat at home and make enough for like the lunch after, right? Make enough leftovers for like lunch, and try to keep it to once a week eating out. Just like usually for like a cheat meal. The rest of the nights are home cooked.
That's what we usually do. We just came from dinner before, and we usually do that on Tuesdays because they have different specials, and we like just go in there just to get out, because you usually eat 5 days out of the week, and then just wanted to switch it up.
Sure.
And it's also a place that we go to where there's not a lot of people that go in, so it's also it makes us feel better too.
Nice.
That's definitely another motivator to not eat out as much, because I still don't trust people, man.
Yeah.
Like,
and we still wear our masks too when we eat, like after while we're eating. So
Oh yeah.
Yeah. That whole situation's weird. Like, actually, it still feels weird to eat out and like take my mask off. So I haven't really done it much at all. Like, for most of last year, I kind of rediscovered how much I love cooking. Because, so as I mentioned, 2019 was a year of a lot of ordering out. So 2020, like, I used to cook like all the time. Like, as I mentioned, summer of like middle school, Ross and Rachel Ray. But yeah, I just picked up a lot of new recipes. I switched to like a high fiber diet, and so it was fun just like learning new stuff and picking up new techniques and whatnot.
Nice.
You're on cooking subreddits too, right?
Yes, I would say like definitely cooking is my other main hobby aside from like podcasting and like books, but
and geek stuff that we talk about.
Yeah, all the stuff I've podcasted about for the past couple years. But yeah, I'm doing, as of this year, I joined the 52 Weeks of Cooking subreddit, where they give you a cooking prompt, like a topic or something, where a theme is the right word for it. But you basically cook off that theme and post your pictures each week. And that has been great for like exposing me to different types of foods from different type of cultures. And it's been good.
Nice.
That sounds like a great way to pick recipes, because sometimes that's the hardest part. Like just even deciding. Yeah. Like it's hard on a Sunday when you're like trying to come up with a grocery list, right? And try to figure out the meals for the week, and you're just like, what do I want? Like, you know. So having a theme to guide you sounds great.
It definitely helps. It can be, I mean, it's a challenge, so it can be kind of challenging. So let me pull that up real quick. There was one week and one culture that was like completely foreign. I haven't really cooked any food in that. Okay, I guess two of the ones that were stretches for me were Hunan and Ecuadorian.
Okay.
Hunan sounds nice. I have no idea what Ecuadorian food is like.
Yeah, I learned about the spice called annatto, which turns food very red.
Huh.
And I used that in the week I did for week 33 was one color. So I made orange rice with the annatto and also turmeric, which turns things like very yellow. So made orange. And
did it taste soapy at all? Like
no.
Okay.
You're thinking of coriander or
well, the reason why I say that is because I've made like golden milk with like turmeric, and sometimes when I add too much turmeric, it definitely tastes like toothpaste.
Really?
Or soap.
That's different than soap, Joe.
That sounds strange.
Or soap. It tasted bad. Like, I don't know. It had a weird flavor. And that's kind of the risk cooking something like you know very little. Like I had a bad experience recently trying to make baked Turkish chicken. Right. I had no idea anything about Turkish flavors, but it was just a recipe that came up, and I can tell you I did not post any pictures and because it was ugly and it tasted just about as bad as it looked. So
damn.
Yeah. It was
I
dusty.
tried tachos.
What are tachos, man?
So tachos is like where I take a potato and I thinly slice it, put it in the oven, and bake it, and make it super crispy, and then make nachos out of it.
Well, that sounds pretty good.
That sounds tasty.
cheese.
That's what chips are, right? They're like sliced well, not the type, not nacho chips usually. Those are like corn, but
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I put a little bit of olive oil, salt, and pepper, some vegan cheese, and some Impossible meat. You're talking about a good time right there.
That does sound very good time.
That does sound good.
I love me.
What vegan cheese do you use?
Voila Life, and we find someone with a like hair cedar. We get the shredded vegan mozzarella.
Okay.
Have you fully converted to like vegan yet, or are you planning on going to do that, Marshall?
No, I'm like a halfie. I mean, most of the stuff I've eaten for the last couple of weeks has been mostly vegan, and that's why I've lost 10 pounds. So I'm definitely happy with it.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean,
Yeah, congrats, dude.
yeah.
Thanks.
There's a lot of great vegan options out there.
yeah.
I think we're living a great time, right? Because I feel like I remember like TV shows, people talking about like vegan options, and it's always just like what, tofu,
Yeah.
right?
Or salad.
Yeah,
So many
but
different
now-
other options. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
feel like
you can
the
have
food
the-
games really evolved since even a decade ago. Like there's so many YouTube channels, recipes, subreddits, and all that stuff.
Yeah, it's
Stuffed
a great
peppers,
time.
They're great.
Yeah.
You can just jump in, Google vegan X being whatever food you want to eat, and you'll find something that you can make from it.
You make a steak and cheese with a pepper, cut it in half.
True.
Impossible meat with some vegan cheese and some green peppers on top. Choom, bam, there you go.
There's a pretty popular chain restaurant around here in Philadelphia. I'm pretty sure other places have it too. It's called like Hip City Veg, and yeah, I think I trade like a cheesesteak made pretty much the filling was essentially made of like mushrooms and onions and like really delicious like sauce with like
That sounds pretty good.
vegan cheese. Like it was pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
So
I'm gonna experiment with this when I have time, but pretty sure I can make a good vegan chicken nugget with tempeh and rice paper.
Yeah, you can.
with rice paper, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's like broken up to like make it like flaky.
Well, wrap it up, fry it, so you get a little bit of a skin and crunchiness.
That sounds pretty good. Tempeh
sounds
is
brilliant.
really proteinous. Like it's got good macros. Yeah, for protein. and
Really?
stuff. Yeah.
Ooh. All right, I'm about to look up some more like tempeh recipes. We've been doing a lot more like chickpeas.
Okay.
For that chickpeas and black beans, like trying to make different recipes out of those.
Yeah, I would say chickpeas and black beans have a lot of carbs with them, so attached with them.
Yeah.
But like tempeh would be like straight up if you need that protein, man.
True.
Like
So you
still
don't-
get
so
to
you don't
enjoy
like
your carbs.
True. So you don't think like chickpeas and black beans are great for macros then? Because
I mean, it depends. Like if you want to like save your carbs to eat like really carby stuff, then like starchy stuff.
Oh,
then, like,
I see what you mean. No, I don't think I need it. Just because most of the time when we eat those, we don't usually eat it with carb. And
Yeah. If you're happy doing that, then that's fine.
yeah.
For sure.
Plus the fiber intake, I think is great.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, the tempeh is like legit.
Yeah. All right. I'm gonna definitely look that up. Get some tempeh, probably Trader Joe's or something.
I'll send you the General Tso's tempeh I did.
Oh
Yeah,
dang!
send that to me too, because that does sound interesting, and I want to make it.
Yeah.
Sure thing.
Yeah.
I'll leave it in the show notes.
Yeah. Leave it in the show notes.
For sure.
What are so Marshall, you like making tachos. What would the rest of y'all like to make?
So I'm a little weird in that I tend to obsessively try and make a recipe and do the best I can with it, and then like after I make a good version of it, just like leave it.
Oh, you try not to make the same thing twice.
No, I make the same thing multiple times, like days on end, and then I never eat it again.
Okay. That's a good way to get sick of it, man, right?
I spent a good chunk of last summer trying to make dairy friendly carbonara because I really love carbonara. There's a that Italian place at work that was like amazing, but I made a version of it using store-bought udon and goat cheese and sun-dried tomatoes instead of the pancetta, and it was great. Cooked for somebody, and haven't really touched it since.
Yeah.
But yeah, breakfast food is another big thing. I would say the first thing when I was trying to teach myself how to cook, like for serious, I made were biscuits. And I've been making the same basic biscuit recipe for like 10 years. And I feel like I got the technique down like a year or two ago. And breakfast food is great.
Yeah, it is. Quick question. Do y'all subscribe to the idea that breakfast food should only be eaten during breakfast? Because I fucking don't.
Oh hell no!
No, it's called brunch
Because
You can eat whenever you want.
or Brenner.
tell that to Giselle, because sometimes it'll be like 11 o'clock and like, all right, I'm about to make some like pancakes. It's like, oh no, it's not breakfast time anymore. I'm like, who cares?
We had breakfast at midnight at fucking Schaefer during finals week.
Right?
What are you talking about?
Right?
I'll text
shit
your
was
wife
lit.
right now. You talking that mess?
That shit was lit.
Oh man.
Right? I always got waffles at Virginia Tech D2. Like they had waffles all the time. Like at the buffet. I always ended my meal with that.
Well, yeah,
Got
don't forget
really
Waffle
fat.
House makes most of its money during like the late night. So
Oh God, I miss Waffle House.
Waffle House. You ever want to see a fight and have a good waffle? You're about to go to
always-
Waffle House.
That's how you know you had a good
Guaranteed.
weekend. Like that's how you know you had a good weekend. Waffle House or New York Chicken. I remember that in Richmond.
Mhm.
I didn't get closed down, but yeah.
It did close down. That was really dangerous.
Yeah. It was, but it was good chicken. But you know you had a good weekend when it's Waffle House Waffle House the night before and pho the next morning.
Ah, yeah.
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 It's a heavy set of meals.
You kind of have to with the amount depending on how much you drink. You need all the carbs you can.
This is fair.
This is true. This is
very
true.
Yeah.
Cool.
My
go-to
trying
was
to look
always-
this up. Oh,
True.
I was gonna say I was trying to look up the video, but
Post it in the show notes.
I'll try and find it. But basically, the American breakfast, the all-American breakfast is like bacon and eggs and bread and muffins and whatnot, was like an invention of an ad campaign back in like I think the 60s or something like that. So before that, Americans were mostly like eating like toast and like tea and coffee and whatnot for breakfast. But then they're like, Americans need to fill up in the morning with their meat and their eggs and tackle the day, and
I mean,
better than the Europeans and whatnot. But,
I mean, I'm sure Sean could speak to it a lot more accurately than I can. But from every time I talk to like a trainer at the gym or whatever, that tracks, right? Like eating a good sized meal for breakfast in the morning stops you from being like super hungry later in the day. Because like I even met a trainer saying like we told him we sometimes make like breakfast smoothies, right? And he actually said like, hey, try to eat something a little more solid that will force you to digest it more slowly, right? Or whatever, because smoothies get processed really quickly and then you'll end up getting hungry and then you're just gonna overeat again.
Yeah.
True.
I mean,
Is that true, Sean?
I think it is important to like eat kind of like when you're waking up and stuff like that. Some people argue otherwise because of like the whole intermittent fasting thing getting popular, but I guess it really depends on the person, because like some people like having those small windows to eat actually like really helps them manage things pretty well. While some people, they need to eat all the time, otherwise just their energy levels just crash, and like you just need like a constant fuel source so you don't get like food comaed out or get the itis. So I would lean towards, you should eat something like pretty hearty in the morning, or especially if you're going to work out later. But I think it depends on the person more so.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's fair.
I'm still making my fried rice at night though. Like, that's my go-to. I was gonna say, we were all talking like what our favorite foods to cook. My go-to has always been, because we always have like leftover rice. And it sounds racist as shit, but I was a Vietnamese man. I do love rice with almost anything. So
I would say that's racist. I feel like that's stereotypical more.
Yeah. That's stereotypical, right? I mean, I've even come to it to like making pollo asado a lot, just because it's so rice heavy. So, but yeah. So we always have leftover rice. So fried rice has always been a go-to, because all you need is like as long as you have green onions growing, just grab one of those, rice, eggs, and whatever protein you want, and a bag of mixed veggies, and you're good to go.
Yeah.
Oh, you
really
Sean?
solid go-to.
I would say my favorite food to cook is probably pho. Which is...
You just said you don't like to cook, and you cook like one of the most difficult, not difficult, but definitely time-consuming.
Yeah. I guess what's your definition of like, are we cooking from scratch? Because if we're not, then like instant ramen is my favorite thing to cook.
I was like, well, like cooking from scratch, like how long does it usually take you to make pho?
Pho is only like 2 hours usually.
For you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because I make chicken pho, and
okay, that is a lot faster.
Not as like intense as like beef pho, or you have to like really let the stock like soak and marinate and cook for like 8 hours.
Even when we like wait a day with beef, it doesn't taste as good as the day after when it's been marinating like even more.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So
that
one is way faster.
Yeah. Also, you brought up ramen. Yo, don't knock instant ramen, man. Like, there's a lot of good ways to make instant ramen good.
Yeah.
With
Jess and I, we eat that like every night. But we've been spicing it up with like just throwing like, for me lately I've been throwing in like ham, ham cubes. Ham cubes are pretty nice.
Oh, true.
Like random vegetables and stuff like that, onions.
True.
Cheese sometimes. Cheese is nice. Mozzarella cheese.
Mm-hmm.
Cheese, I've only tried that a few times. Cheese on ramen. I usually do usually have a bag of like frozen like fish balls, like fish meatballs, and like random vegetables like green onions or bok choy, even if we got it, or spinach, even just like soaking it in.
Cilantro's pretty nice with it. It makes it a little fresher, not as processed tasting.
Ooh, and I almost forgot. I always drop an egg in it and let it poach.
Oh yeah, eggs are nice.
There. Yeah.
Yeah, instant ramen is just like a great canvas for you to like be creative on with food.
Yeah. Yeah, because you could play with the soup amount. You can make it like a dry version and everything.
You could fry it, after like soaking it. You can, make it nice and crunchy.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
I guess that since we were talking about pho, that brings me up to our next question. Do you guys cook food from your cultural background, and how important is food to your culture, do you think?
I guess I'll say I don't cook as much as I should or as I would rather do. But the same way that I kind of obsess over a recipe for a time and like not do it. But I guess I still have some staple foods that I just like cook regularly, like putting some rice on the fire or putting some salmon in the oven. But Ghanaian food, I don't really have the impetus to cook as much because I'm currently living at home and eating my mom's cooking sometimes. But I have made jollof rice before. I've made fresh pepper sauce before. I'm translating the words because just avoid the questions. But aside from that, not really. It's one of the things I know I need to pick up more from my mom and my dad and just other family members, because it's definitely something I want to pass down to my kids whenever I have them. And I'll say food is a very important part of culture to me, because I feel like that's one of the main ways that I've been passed Ghanaian culture over the years. Just because, like, I can't speak the language, but I can eat all the foods. So
there you go.
Yeah,
I think I'm in the same boat as well. I definitely don't cook enough Vietnamese food, which is funny because, like you, Daryl, with Ghanaian food, Vietnamese food is a very big part of my upbringing and culture. Like, aside from that, the only other food my parents or my mom really knew how to cook was like spaghetti. Right. Everything else, my diet at nights were primarily very like Vietnamese. And so that, that's a big part of like my memories. And like, even though I don't speak the language very well, like you said, you could still, if you can't speak it, you could eat it. But, I identify a lot with it. And I usually attribute that to like one reason why I don't think I could ever be fully vegan, because that would mean denying like such a huge part of Vietnamese cuisine. That being, so I definitely need to cook more of it. Need to get like at least like a Vietnamese cookbook or something, right? Like one written by like a Vietnamese person. But that being said, I still try to keep like meals as culturally diverse as possible. Like either like, like Latin food or like Korean, try like Japanese or whatever. Like I said, I tried Turkish to a really bad result, but like stuff like that, right? So I think I should definitely pull from my own culture, but I still think that it's good to cook foods from different cultures to keep it has a funny way of keeping you like culturally aware as well. Or like,
yeah, for sure.
You see how similar we are and see how different we are, especially their food.
Yeah. So like, piggybacking off of what Joe said, like, yeah, you learn like a lot of culture based on your food, like, because we have certain foods that come out during like special times of the year where we're celebrating like that, like New Year's or like other festivities or whatever, where it's like it's like you only eat those foods during those special times, and it kind of gives you like nostalgia too, like, oh yeah, like this is where I felt like connected and rooted with, like, because usually that's when you meet with all family and stuff like that. Like everyone comes together, and yeah, it's pretty good. And I think the also eating diverse things is really good too. Like what you said, Daryl, where you really realize how similar so many cultures are. Because like I started realizing, I'm like, man, there's so many ways to make chow fun, drunken noodles / a bunch of other things. They're like each Asian country has like a variation of that or something. Like they have their own like kanji or whatever. It's like they have yao, which is like wet rice or whatever, soup, stuff like that, or chow, and a bunch of other things. And yeah, you really see how much like how similar you guys are, even if like things are like all the way across the world. Like,
oh, for sure.
Like, oh, you guys wrap your foods and stuff like that too, like Latin food and like even Filipino food / Vietnamese food. We like wrap things a lot.
Yeah, lumpia and jaya are very similar.
They're pretty similar. Like they're rice paper. Like, all right, someone uses corn paper like to make it. It's the same idea. Or like a samosa and an empanada. Like those things are yeah.
Or like you said, jiao and juk, right? Because I remember trying juk for like Korean rice porridge for the first time. I was like, this is jiao. Like this is, like it just has like, you know, maybe more cheese and like beef or something like that, but still jiao.
You said that's a rice porridge?
Yeah.
Kind of like congee?
Yeah.
There's a Ghanaian dish that's also like that. So
yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
This actually reminds me. So I've been watching a Netflix show called High on the Hog, a little bit, and I'm only like a few episodes in, but it just reminds me of he was traveling. I forgot which parts of Africa. I think I want to say Côte d'Azur, but not sure. But he noticed like the ways they were cooking like food were extremely similar to how it was being made in like the South, like currently of the U.S. Like centuries later, after like the descendants of like slaves, right? They're still cooking the same way that their ancestors did. And I thought that was pretty special, like to just link you to your heritage, right?
Yeah,
and also realize like you're still cooking the same way, like across the ocean.
Yeah, that's wild. How about you, Marshall?
Well, being African American, my culture is mostly whatever my parents wanted it to be. So we didn't really.
What was that, man? Like you said, your dad cooked a lot, right? So
yeah, he mostly made stuff from the South, like fried chicken, greens, catfish.
Ooh, catfish.
It really wasn't part of our culture. It was just stuff that he knew how to cook because of what he was able to afford when he was younger. So that's all we learned how to skin and gut a fish. So
that's important to learn.
I forgot what meals it was, but I remember there was a moment where I realized like Black American soul food was extremely similar to certain like Vietnamese food. It might explain why a lot of Vietnamese people love, like barbecued pork, for example, or like.
Really?
I forgot exactly what it was. I remember like I think I was cooking something and it was soul food. It might have been like bourbon chicken, something like that, right? But then like a Vietnamese style, and I was like, oh, this is something I had before. So again, like Daryl was saying, different variations, but we're all pretty much cooking the same thing.
Yeah,
pretty much. Yeah,
yeah,
almost.
Cool. So like you guys mentioned Reddit and YouTube, and what was the videos you were watching in middle school, Daryl?
30-minute meals. Rachel Ray's old cooking show.
Oh yeah,
I remember her.
That leads to my next question. What would you guys consider like a good way to start cooking?
Facebook.
Sometimes, yeah.
Elaborate.
No, I understand. Like sometimes, if you're in a cooking group, like I'm in it's not being active right now, but like a Vietnamese cooking group, it's a good way to get ideas.
Also, I follow Tasty on Facebook. So Tasty is like people who just like make like recipes. Like, hey, you guys want to like make something that's healthy but also good at the same time? They'll make like that's how I learned to make the stuffed peppers. And I was like, what are you doing? Like, lady's just chopping up a green pepper, and she made it to a steak and cheese that was vegan. And I was like, well,
stuffed peppers are delicious. Peppers are
late at night. You just start scrolling. You're like, I've been like 15 recipes in, and it's like 3 a.m. I'm gonna keep going.
That sounds good.
That does sound good.
Yeah, YouTube is a great resource.
Social media in general
for inspiration and everything.
I usually get my inspiration for like food porn on Reddit r/food porn, and just seeing like what crazy things people come up with. Like, I want to eat that. I want to make that.
Yeah, I've been. Well, I mean, how I started was just like finding one thing I wanted to try and make and just learning how to make it. It was biscuits for me. I mean, first I did breadsticks, but those did not turn out well. I'm still have problems with like yeast, but that's another story.
Michelle could teach you. She's mastering the art of making bread.
Oh, nice.
Nice. Might take you.
Yeah.
I might take her.
Whenever you come up to Philly, for you, Marshall.
We'll be up. I'll be up there soon. Calm down.
Actually, you know where I really started like cooking more? Like, did anyone ever have that Windows Vista app or whatever? Like, it was like food app, and it just gave you like a random recipe to do, like a simple random recipe to do every day.
Let's go back. You just say Windows Vista?
Yeah, it is back in college.
Joe, get out. Just leave.
Get out! What? You never had Vista? You straight wait from like what? What'd you go? Go from like Windows 2007 to like Windows 10?
Yes.
The fuck? So you're telling me you use Windows 2007 the whole time?
You know it.
What's wrong with Vista?
Windows 7.
It didn't last.
Vista
it was crappy. It was buggy as hell. But you know what? It was what I had.
If I wanted bugs, I would have gone out in nature.
You know what? Vista sucked, but it taught me how to make. It taught me how to make Parmesan stuffed chicken and meatballs. There you go.
I can tell you too. Okay. You make meat and form it into the shape of a ball, and you take the chicken and you shove Parmesan inside of it. Oh,
shut the fuck up, Marshall. I didn't know. I was subsisting
your whole world apart. Just
I was subsisting off of campus food until that year. I knew nothing.
You just said you don't
for a beginner. For a beginner, I was proud of those meatballs. And you know what? Those meatballs were tricky because I had to use bread cubes that were like soaked in milk.
Yes, that's how you make meatballs.
That's not what you just said. You said take the meat and form it into balls. You did not go into the specifics.
You should know how to make meatballs.
Get the fuck out of here.
Getting your meatballs.
So I think one of the biggest things you should probably learn is to use a frying pan, use a pot, and use an oven.
Yes. Always salt your water when it's boiling.
Yep.
I mean, depends on what you're making.
Pay attention.
Tea, not so much.
Always pay attention.
I got water boiler. I got water boiler for that.
Go while cooking.
Oh, true.
Joe.
No, I have no problem doing that. My problem that I learned the hard way was never fry fish when you're inebriated or not sober.
I mean, yes.
Yeah, it's not a good lesson.
Yeah, those are terrible burns.
Yeah.
So, like, based off of those three things, I feel like some simple recipes to try and like learn and master is just to fry eggs and fry bacon, like make pasta or like make a. I was gonna say make a basic roux, but you can just go and like make macaroni and cheese and like learn how to bake a potato or like make roasted potatoes. Just like cover all your bases, make a nice good meal out of all that stuff, and have a nice time.
Also resist the temptation to raise the heat because I fall for that a lot. And you could always heat undercooked food more. There is nothing you can do about burnt food.
This is true.
That's true.
I was gonna recommend, since you also mentioned like learning how to use an oven, like honestly, like an air fryer or Instant Pot are like really nice tools that you can really make things crispy without the oil. Oh yeah, the sous vide is really nice too, because that you can set it and forget it for a long time. Other things, since we're all geeks here, like watching some anime could be a good way to start cooking, because you might get like really motivated and like inspired. Like Food Wars really was like
definitely watch that with your headphones on.
Don't watch with your headphones on.
Don't let someone walk in while you watch Food Wars, or they might
never watch
the wrong idea
in an open room. It sounds bad, but you'll understand why after like the first 2 episodes why you cannot watch it in the middle of the living room.
Or you could read the manga on Viz. they actually have recipes in at the end of the chapter.
They have recipes and they have volumes, but do they have could you listen to it on a high volume?
Watch a man make some.
I mean, if you rustle the paper real quick.
Not so much.
There's also a cleaner version of that came out earlier before called Yakitate Japan, where it's like a bread competition thing. When you mentioned Giselle was making bread, that totally reminded me of that, because that guy was he just really wanted to show the world Japan can make bread, man.
Mm-hmm. With his solar hands, or solar gauntlets.
Ooh, so, you know what's something I've come to? It's becoming a favorite of mine to cook because it's super easy to make. Is oyakudon, like Japanese oyakudon. It's egg and chickens, almost like a soupy, but not really, like an eggy dish over rice. But I got the inspiration from Jujutsu Kaisen.
Okay.
So yeah, you can get inspiration about food from anywhere.
Yeah, like you mentioned, High on the Hog. A lot of Netflix shows definitely.
Oh yeah,
it makes it really fun, and you learn so much watching those shows too. You're just like, wow, I'm this technique.
Oh yeah. Oh, you know what's a great show for that too? Queer Eye. I love watching Queer Eye for the recipes and for the fashion. But yeah, they had I forgot his name. What, Anthony? Right?
Anthony.
Yeah,
Anthony's chef. He's amazing.
He teaches really simple recipes, because most of the people they talk to are beginners in a lot of things. So so yeah,
I want to rewatch that again. It was really good.
Also on the anime front, another link to check out is Chef PK's YouTube channel. He does a lot of anime food. I started watching him because he's an actual trained chef, and he was doing reactions to Food Wars, and it was a good time. If you guys remember the Sagiaire arc, that's an actual thing that chefs do. I just learned, and he was talking about his experiences on his Sagiaire, and it was a cool time
for the win.
And also, this may or may not work with the being healthy part of cooking, but there is a channel called Healthy Junk Food, but they spell healthy HELLTHY. So they are known for doing remakes of actual foods, some meme foods, and also remaking junk food as well, and also making giant versions of junk food. So at the very least, you can get some inspiration and watch the episode where they make a giant drumstick. It was interesting. They had a giant bone, but I won't tell you from where they got it.
Okay.
It's a spoiler attached to it. You know what? This was a while ago, but I remember surfing through YouTube and seeing Christy Carlson Romano and Will Friedle, Kim Possible and Ron Stoppable.
Yeah. Oh, the Nako.
They were making the Nako. It looked pretty bomb, man. Not gonna lie, it made me want to try it because they were showing how to cook it, recipe wise.
She has a cooking channel where she brings on Disney Channel stars and whatnot to make stuff with her.
So yeah.
No, what's his name? No Shia LaBeouf, but she did have beans on.
Beans? What did they make?
Cooking.
Beans.
I can't tell you. That's a surprise.
Fine. No spoilers on this episode.
Nope. Yeah. Two other channels that have been really great for me when I was doing a lot more cooking on my own and trying to expand my repertoire for there's a clean eating challenge I mentioned last episode. Chef John, he has a ton of videos going back years and years. Didn't know how highly respected he was until much later, but he has a ton of great videos, lots of great flavors explored, and all of his videos have a link to a blog post where they have like a lot more details and like amounts and everything and variations on the recipes. I will say not every YouTube channel is great with that, because cooking off of video isn't that great if they don't like tell you exactly what's in the thing, so you can actually get those recipes and do your own mise en place.
Especially if you're very meticulous, or like me, have very low attention span, so videos do not work. I gotta read it. Gotta read the numbers.
Yeah, and when they're rattling a list of like half a teaspoon of baking powder, a teaspoon of salt, a cup of eggs, or whatever, gotta get time to get that together. The other good channel is called Internet Shaquille. He's a dude who really loves to cook, and he did work in restaurants before, but he's really great at like breaking things down like super simply and not giving you any fluff. So like I use his recipe for salmon, and the first 5 seconds of the video is just like time, temperature, and it's like, you're probably gonna reference this later. Here's all the information you need, and then he goes on with this video.
That's awesome. So, I wish more people did that.
Yeah,
both video and written form, because who else is getting sick of Googling recipes and it's like, oh, I'm going to teach you how to make this like lasagna. So the backstory is, you know, my great grandfather survived this war. And it's like, you know, like, and I didn't know about it till I went through this like rough breakup, and I was like, I didn't ask for any of this story. Like, just give me the damn recipe.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I appreciate that guy for putting all the pertinent information up front at the beginning.
You know, it's nuts. I use the service Pocket to like save articles and like save recipes. It's great with like tagging and sorting and whatnot. But the way that it like grabs it, it'll grab everything but the actual recipe.
Damn.
So I actually have to go to the website to pull it out.
That's so annoying. I'd rather just not do that. I don't know. Like, get into trouble.
It didn't used to be that way, but like something, I guess maybe it's a WordPress plugin everyone's using that prevents you from doing that. But
it's a feature, not a bug.
See.
I don't know what it is. I don't know.
It probably is. That's more clicks for them. Yeah. So yeah, a ton of resources, and it's going to be a stacked show notes.
At the end of the day, like you were asking, like what's a good way to start cooking? At the end of the day, it's just getting motivated, you know. But once getting motivated to learn a new skill, because at the beginning it is really hard, right? It's really hard to be patient. It's really hard to like, you know. 'Cause my biggest problem was I like to keep the kitchen like clean, and so I'm very averse to like when a mess happens, right? But that will really slow you down, and that will really stop you from like enjoying the process. So, you know, I had to learn like chill a little bit, right? So it's hard to get motivated, but like I said, once you get into it, once you like find the rhythm, you start developing good like cooking habits, and all of a sudden you're gonna want to rather cook instead of, you know, take the easy way out and like go like mod or snap pizza or something like that.
Yeah. Looking at your budget can also motivate you to start cooking better.
That too.
And sometimes it kind of goes the other way of like, do I need to spend this much money on these ingredients?
Yeah, it's true.
Or
that is very true. That's hard. Thing. That's hard to do too, because like recently we made like butter chicken, right? And next time we're definitely gonna try to get like the pre-made stuff like that we can, but we're doing it from scratch. It was very rewarding. It was also just a very long process to like make the
it looked like a long
gravy
process.
from scratch.
It looked like a long process.
Yeah. You look like a long process.
Of beauty, yes.
And with that, guys, thanks for all you guys had to say. So, audience, do you guys like to cook? Leave your favorite recipes in the comments below. Thanks for tuning in to Geeks Represent. If you enjoyed this discussion, subscribe to our podcast on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, and everywhere podcasts can be found. If you want to add to this discussion, visit geeksrepresent.com. There you can find our social media links. Thanks for listening.